before the Spanish galleons, before the flags of Castile and Aragon flew across the seas, before Magellan set foot in Cebu, there was already a kingdom thriving in the heart of what we now call the Philippines, a kingdom of trade, diplomacy, and mystery. Its name, Tondo, tucked along the northern shores of Manila Bay, where the Pasig River wound its way into the heart of Luzon. Tondo rose as one of the earliest and most powerful polities in the archipelago. But unlike the great empires of China, India, or even its regional neighbors like Srivijaya and Majapahit, Tondo has remained largely a mystery, half glimpsed through foreign records, faint echoes in oral tradition, and scattered archaeological finds. Today we journey back in time to uncover the forgotten story of the Kingdom of Tondo and ask the questions. Who were its people? How did they live? What power did they hold? And why did history almost erase them? Welcome to Whisper of the Past, where forgotten mysteries and untold stories come alive. Before we uncover today's secret from history, make sure to hit subscribe and tap the bell, because every upload reveals something the world has almost forgotten. Are you ready to step into the past? Then let's begin. The land and its setting. Manila Bay has always been a natural magnet for human settlement. Sheltered from storms, blessed with rich fishing grounds, and connected by rivers to fertile inland valleys, the bay was a perfect hub for trade and agriculture. Tondo was situated on the north bank of the Pasig River, opposite the Kingdom of Manila, which occupied the southern side. Together, these two settlements controlled the mouth of the river, and by extension, access to the interior of Luzon. From here, Tondo's people could move goods along the Pasig into Laguna de Bay, then up into the mountains where gold was mined. They could sail out into Manila Bay and connect with merchants from across Southeast Asia and even China. Geography gave Tondo power. Early mentions in foreign records. The earliest written clues to Tondo's existence come not from local chronicles, because none survived, but from Chinese records. As early as the 10th century, Chinese imperial documents mention trade with a place called Liu Sung, referring to Luzon. By the 13th and 14th centuries, traders were recording dealings with Tuntu, or Tondo. What did they trade? Gold, beeswax, pearls, and forest products flowed out. In return, silk, ceramics, iron tools, and luxury items came in. By the Ming Dynasty, Tondo was sending tribute missions to China, a sign of prestige and recognition. Arab and Indian influences also filtered in through the maritime trade routes of the Indian Ocean. Some historians suggest that Tondo may have had connections to the great thalassocracies of the time, the Srivijaya Empire of Sumatra, and later the Majapahit of Java. Tondo was no isolated village. It was plugged into the global economy of the medieval world. The rulers of Tondo. What do we know of its leaders? Not much, but enough to spark curiosity. The rulers of Tondo carried the title Lakan, meaning paramount chief or king. Among them, the most famous name is Lakandula, who lived during the Spanish arrival in the 16th century. But Lakandula was not the first. Oral tradition and scattered documents speak of a lineage of rulers stretching back centuries. Some sources even claim semi-legendary ancestors, figures whose names blur the line between myth and history. The title Lakans suggests that Tondo was not just a local chieftaincy, but a federated polity, perhaps ruling over or allied with smaller barangays and coastal settlements around Manila Bay. The wealth of Tondo gold was the lifeblood of Tondo. Ancient Luzon was famous for its gold mines, particularly in the Cordillera region. Chinese accounts describe Luzon as rich in gold, with people who wore gold ornaments in daily life. Even the dead were buried with gold, from mouth coverings to jewelry. Archaeologists have found treasures like the Laguna copperplate inscription, dated 900 AD, which, while not directly from Tondo, hints at a highly literate and interconnected society in the region. The inscription mentions debts, rulers, and places, suggesting political sophistication. Beyond gold, Tondo's people thrived in agriculture and fishing. Rice paddies stretched inland, while the rivers and bay provided abundant seafood. Their strategic location turned them into middlemen of trade, linking the inland resources of Luzon with the global maritime network. Tondo versus Manila. If Tondo ruled the north of the Pasig, Manila ruled the south. The two were close neighbors, allies at times, rivals at others. Manila, founded by rulers with ties to Brunei, leaned more heavily into Islam by the 15th century, while Tondo held onto its older Austronesian traditions, blended with Hindu, Buddhist, and indigenous beliefs. Together, they made Manila Bay one of the most important hubs in pre-colonial Southeast Asia. But their rivalry would later give the Spanish an opening: the coming of Spain. When the Spanish arrived in the 1570s, they encountered both Tondo and Manila. At that time, Lakans ruled Tondo, while Raja Suleiman ruled Manila. The Spanish, led by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi and Martín de Goiti, clashed with Suleiman, eventually defeating him. Tondo, under Lakans, took a more diplomatic approach, negotiating with the Spaniards and attempting to preserve some autonomy. But Spanish colonization was relentless. The once proud Kingdom of Tondo was absorbed into the colony of Manila, its lands and people subjected to encomiendas, its rulers reduced to local chiefs under Spanish authority. By the early 17th century, Tondo as an independent polity was gone. The mysteries of Tondo. Here is where the story becomes fascinating. Despite being one of the most powerful pre-colonial kingdoms in the Philippines, Tondo left behind almost no written records of its own. Why? Was it because Spanish colonizers deliberately suppressed indigenous histories, replacing them with colonial narratives? Was it because Tondo's elites relied on oral tradition, which vanished over time? Or were its records lost to fire, flood, and the chaos of conquest? Even its origins remain unclear. Did Tondo emerge as an independent kingdom, or was it part of the orbit of Srivijaya and later Majapahit? Was it primarily Austronesian in culture, or did Indian, Islamic, and Chinese elements dominate? The lack of ruins, no stone temples, no massive structures like Borobudur or Angkor also deepens the mystery. Tondo's legacy survives only in fragments, pottery shards, gold ornaments, a few names in foreign records, and stories passed down in whispers. Legacy of Tondo. Yet even in its disappearance, Tondo's memory endures. The Manila district still bears its name today. Its last great ruler, Lakans, is remembered as a symbol of dignity and negotiation in the face of colonization. More importantly, Tondo represents something larger, that the Philippines was never just discovered in 1521. Long before Magellan, long before Spain, the islands had thriving societies, kingdoms, and global connections. Tondo was proof that the Philippines was part of the great human story of trade, culture, and civilization. And so the mystery of Tondo lingers. A A kingdom once rich in gold and trade, powerful enough to send tribute to China, influential enough to rival Manila, and yet almost erased from history. Was it deliberate silence or simple neglect? Did Tondo fall to the Spanish or to the tides of time itself? Perhaps the answer lies still buried beneath Manila's soil, waiting for archaeologists to uncover. Until then, Tondo remains a ghost kingdom, half forgotten but never fully gone, because every time we ask who we were before colonization, every time we remember that our ancestors ruled kingdoms and sailed seas, the spirit of Tondo rises again. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the whispers of the past. If you enjoyed uncovering today's mystery, don't let it be the last. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you'll never miss another story hidden in history. And hey, share this video with someone who loves a good mystery. Until next time, keep listening to the whispers. They might just change the way you see the past.